Every night, without fail, you arrive at the most powerful doorway you will ever stand before. Not the front door of your home, not the door of an office, a church, or a bank. I'm speaking about the quiet, unmarked door inside your own mind that opens in the last few minutes before sleep. On the other side of that door sits a tireless architect, the part of you that never sleeps, never argues, never doubts. It only builds, and it builds from the final blueprint you hand it before your eyes close. Most people don't choose the blueprint. They let the day choose for them. They hand over a scrap of worry, a headline of fear, a replay of a conversation that didn't go well. They pass through that door carrying the debris of the day and then wonder why tomorrow is built out of the same materials. It isn't fate. It isn't bad luck. It is law. Your subconscious mind will accept the last thought you author, amplify it through the night, and return it to you as mood, momentum, and circumstance. Tonight we change that. I'm going to give you two thoughts, just two, that, when planted in that drowsy golden space before sleep, will begin reorganizing your life from the inside out. Two thoughts, simple enough to remember, strong enough to steady you in any storm, quiet enough to pass the doorman of the conscious mind without a fight. One restores order to your inner world so that confusion and anxiety can no longer run the show. The other opens the channels of supply so that what you need begins arriving without the strain and scrambling you've grown used to: order and supply, structure and flow, bones and breath. When you fall asleep holding both, you give the architect perfect plans, a life that fits and a life that provides. If you've ever lain awake counting the things that can go wrong, you already know how powerful a single thought can be. You've felt it take on weight in your chest. You've felt it multiply into new worries by morning. Before we begin, take a deep breath and make a declaration, a signal to the universe that you're ready to step into a higher order and receive every good thing meant for you. Write in the comments right now, "Divine order guide my life." This simple act plants the first seed, your conscious agreement with the law you're about to learn. That same mechanism, the one that seems to work so faithfully against you, can be turned. Tonight you will hand the night crew a clean design. Not 10 affirmations you can't remember. Not a frantic wish list. Just two steady thoughts. Each with a feeling, each with an image, each delivered like a sealed instruction. Build this. Imagine it. The world goes dim. Your breathing slows. The surface mind loosens its grip. You are floating in that soft, delicious borderland between waking and sleep. This is the gate. This is the moment your subconscious listens without interrupting. This is where most people spill their fears. But you are going to place two clear stones in the center of the still water and watch the ripples travel through the night. You may be tempted to complicate this, add clever language, force excitement, push for instant results. You don't need any of that. The law is ancient and dignified. It responds to clarity, repetition, and feeling. We won't shout. We won't bargain. We will declare calmly, as one who knows there is divine order in me and around me now, and I am divinely provided for in perfect ways now. Two thoughts. One structure. One flow. Say them with the gravity of truth, not the panic of wishing. Say them as if you were stepping into an already prepared room and turning on the light. You might be thinking, "But I've tried affirmations before." You haven't tried this way. You haven't brought two thoughts to the exact point where the critical mind falls silent. You haven't paired each thought with a feeling so real your body believes it, and an image so simple your subconscious can trace it with its eyes closed. Tonight you will, and the difference will be immediate, not because the universe suddenly remembers your name, but because you finally delivered the correct plans to the only builder that matters. Picture the first thought as a tuning fork, struck in a quiet hall. The vibration brings scattered objects into place. The noise in your head settles. The nagging loops lose their grip. You can almost hear the mental furniture sliding back where it belongs. That's divine order, an inner atmosphere in which solutions show themselves because nothing is blocking the view. Picture the second thought as a door quietly swinging open to a storeroom you didn't know you had. The thing you needed, ideas, connections, money, help, standing on the shelf with your name on it. Not because you begged, but because provision is the nature of a universe that has never once run out of sunrise. If you've been living by effort and adrenaline, this will feel like heresy. You'll want to do more. Try harder. Stack techniques. Resist that impulse tonight. Your effort belongs to the choosing and the feeling, not to the forcing. Your job is to deliver the blueprint, and lie still while the builders work. You are not abandoning responsibility. You are honoring the division of labor. The conscious mind chooses the seed, the subconscious grows the garden. And what happens if you forget? If a stray worry sneaks in after you've planted the seed, then as you notice it, you quietly say, "Not my truth," and return to the two thoughts. You don't wrestle the weed. You outnumber it with the crop you chose. A farmer doesn't panic when he sees a weed. He recognizes it and keeps sowing what he wants more of. You will do the same. So here's my promise to you, simple, audacious, and testable. Give me the last 3 minutes of your night for the next 7 nights. Plant these two thoughts with feeling just as your mind grows drowsy. See the image. Feel the reality. Whisper the words. Then sleep. In a week, you will notice the edges of your days rounding, the knotted places loosening, the right people appearing, the small helps arriving as if by accident. Call it coincidence if you like. I call it law. The architect only ever had one question. What shall I build? Tonight, for the first time in a long time, you will answer clearly. Close your eyes. Breathe. Let the day step back. You are standing at the door again, the unmarked one. On the other side is the machinery that makes your life. Don't hand it scraps. Don't hand it noise. Place 2 clear plans in its hands and say them like you mean them. 2 thoughts before you sleep. Watch what happens. Let's begin with the first thought. Divine order. Say it softly in your mind. There is divine order in me and around me now. Let the words land, not as poetry but as instruction. Order is not about forcing life into neat rows, nor is it the brittle control that shatters at the first surprise. Order is the underlying harmony, the secret arrangement already present in the universe brought forward into your mind, your body, your day. When you affirm order, you hand your subconscious a tuning fork. It vibrates through the clutter, hums through the noise, and everything that belongs to you finds its right place in its right time. Think of the universe as an orchestra already tuned to a perfect pitch. There are strings of events, woodwinds of relationships, brass instruments of opportunities, percussion of deadlines and demands. Your subconscious is the conductor. It stands in the quiet pit while you live your scenes on stage, and with the slightest lift of its baton it calls each section in on cue. When you go to sleep repeating divine order now, you're not yelling over the music, you're handing the conductor the score. The horns stop competing with the violins. The percussion doesn't rush the tempo. The melody you wanted to live begins to emerge, clear, confident, inevitable. You may have experienced the opposite, mornings that begin with a tangle you didn't ask for. You open your eyes already behind. A dozen open loops spin in your head, email you forgot to send, an uneasy conversation, keys you can't find, numbers that don't add up. That's what life feels like when there's no conductor. Every section plays whenever it pleases. Divine order now invites the baton back into your hand, not to control the world, but to re-establish the underlying rhythm in you so the world can meet you differently. Imagine a gardener stepping into a neglected plot. Weeds have opinions. Vines have taken liberties. Things that should be in sun are choking in shade. The gardener doesn't rage at the wildness. He remembers the design. He pulls, trims, moves, waters, and within hours it looks like the garden was always meant to look. Your subconscious is that gardener. The weeds are just thoughts that grew where attention was absent. When you affirm order, you're not fighting the weeds. You're restoring the plan. And when the plan returns, the garden does what gardens do, it grows what you want. Or picture an architect hunched over a table strewn with sketches. Some brilliant, some half-finished, some conflicting. Construction crews kept calling, which drawing should we follow? And the architect kept saying, all of them. That's your mind on a busy week. Divine order is the moment the architect pulls a single clean blueprint from the stack, rolls everything else away and says, build this. The crews stop guessing, the lines straighten, waste disappears. What you wanted gets built. I once worked with a woman called Elena who wore overwhelm like a second skin. Talented, driven, constantly in motion. She also felt perpetually behind. Every night her last thought was a roll call of unfinished tasks. Every morning she woke with a stone in her stomach. She began a simple experiment for 7 nights. Nothing fancy, just this one thought breathed slowly as she grew drowsy. Divine order governs my mind, my body, and all my affairs. Now, no pleading, no bargaining. She paired it with the smallest image she could hold. A desk once in chaos, now clear, one sheet of paper in the center with her name, and the word today across the top. On day 3, she woke calmer. On day 5, she opened a closet and saw exactly the thing she'd been searching for last week. On day 7, she mapped the next quarter in an hour, a job that normally stole a weekend. It feels, she said, as if the pieces were waiting to click, and the click finally happened. That's order. Not magic tricks, alignment. Here's how you plant it. In the last few minutes before sleep, dim the noise. Let your breathing slow. Feel your body grow heavy and friendly against the bed. Place a hand over the center of your chest, not because you must, but because touch anchors attention. With the softness of a secret, think, there is divine order in me and around me now. Pause long enough to feel what that would be like if it were suddenly true. Don't hunt for fireworks. Listen for the tiny click of a lock turning. See one scene, a hallway with doors on both sides. Behind each door is a part of your life, work, love, money, health. In the hallway, small cards hover in the air, loose tasks, concerns, names. As you speak the phrase again, they begin to float to the doors where they belong and slide under in silence. No door slams. Nothing dramatic. Just a gentle sorting, the opposite of panic. Breathe. Repeat. Feel the hallway empty of stray cards. One light remains at the far end tomorrow morning, and you see yourself walking toward it unhurried, hands free. If imagery isn't easy for you, try sound. Hear an orchestra tuning stray squeaks and plucks. Whisper divine order now, and in your mind the A note settles. Instruments align to it. That's all. The concert hasn't started. The harmony has. Or use touch. Imagine a desk that has become a junk drawer. You pull it out, overturn it, and hear the clatter. Now the ritual: one paper returns to the desk, one pen, one notebook. Everything else goes in its own drawer. When you repeat divine order now, you place one more thing where it belongs. You don't need to clear the whole house. You just need to establish the principle. The subconscious loves principles because it can apply them widely while you sleep. This first thought is medicine for confusion. Confusion thrives in noise, too many inputs, too many competing intentions, the mind scanning for danger and calling it thinking. Order lowers the volume. You begin to distinguish signal from static. You don't suddenly know everything. You suddenly know the next thing. The relief this brings cannot be overstated. Anxiety feeds on the idea that 1,000 decisions must be made now. Order reminds you that only one belongs to now and identifies which one. It is medicine for fear. Fear is a story the mind tells when it cannot see a path. Order is the path revealed one stone at a time. Fear whispers, "What if?" Order answers, "Here is." The body hears the difference. Shoulders drop. The breath deepens. The nervous system uncoils. In that softer chemistry, solutions become visible that panic had hidden. It is medicine for chaos. Chaos is not the number of moving parts. It's the absence of an organizing principle. A child's playroom can hold 100 toys and feel peaceful when each has a bin. A calendar can hold 100 tasks and feel spacious when each has a place. Divine order does not remove moving parts. It gives them a home. Your outer world takes cues from your inner world. As order settles inside, you will notice that people respond more clearly to your requests, that timing accidentally works in your favor, that even delays prove wise in hindsight. It looks like luck from the outside. From the inside, it feels like a current carrying you instead of a current carrying you away. Perhaps you say, "My situation is too complex for a sentence to move it." Consider this. You are not asking a sentence to move your life. You are using a sentence to move your center. From a centered place, the same life is handled differently. Emails composed with fewer words, boundaries drawn without apology, clutter released without ceremony, appointments made at the right time with the right tone. The world answers your center. Change the center, and responses change. If old habits jump in as you drift, if a worry elbows your mantra, don't wrestle. Smile inwardly and say, "Not my order." Return to the phrase, "You are not arguing with a thought. You are teaching the conductor which page to put on the stand." Repetition wins, not because it's loud, but because it's steady. Here's a soft script you can borrow for the next few nights as you plant this seed. My day has done what it could. I release the rest. There is divine order in me and around me. Now, thoughts line up like patient guests and I greet them one at a time. The simple next step reveals itself and I accept it. The doors that are mine to walk through will open, the doors that are not will remain closed, and I won't try their handles. Divine order governs my mind, my body, my conversations, my calendar. I do not push the river. I walk beside it and it carries me. There is divine order in me and around me now. As you repeat this, let your jaw slacken, your eyes grow heavy. See that clear desk. See the hallway without loose cards. Hear the orchestra settle into pitch. If you fall asleep mid-sentence, perfect. You planted the instruction at the threshold. The builders know what to do. By morning, don't go hunting for miracles with a magnifying glass. Notice the subtle. The exact wording for a delicate email arrives in one sentence. The person you needed to reach texts first. The errand that looked urgent yesterday can wait. And the one that looked small turns out to be the key move. That is order asserting itself. No to it. Whisper thank you. This gratitude is not superstition. It is reinforcement. It tells your subconscious, yes, more of this. Carry one simple habit into your day to keep the groove. Before you begin a task, pause a breath's length and say inwardly, divine order now. Then act. Before a conversation, divine order now. Then speak. Before you open your inbox, divine order now. Then read. You're not begging for help. You're cueing the conductor to raise the baton, and in the evening repeat the ritual. No drama, no strain. Order doesn't need volume. It needs consent. With your consent, it will thread through your hours like a quiet intelligence, fetching what belongs together and returning what doesn't. Confusion will still knock. Fear will still try a story. Chaos will still attempt a scene. But the house will have a framework. The scene will meet a stage manager. The story will meet a page already titled Order, and after a handful of nights, you will wonder how you ever tried to sleep by accident. When you're ready, we'll pair this with the second thought, provision, so that what order frames abundance fills. For now, let this one thought become the music under everything. There is divine order in me and around me. Now breathe, place it in the still water, watch the ripples travel, and rest. Now we turn to the second thought, divine provision. Say it quietly inside. I am already supplied. Let those 4 words fall through you like warm rain. Not I will be supplied. Not I hope to be supplied, but already. Provision is not a favor you must win. It is a fact you awaken to. Just as air waits at your window whether you open it or not, supply waits at the threshold of your consciousness. When you affirm provision at night, you are not begging the universe for crumbs, you are opening the window. The deepest mistake most of us make about abundance is chronological. We put it in the future. When the raise comes, when the client signs, when my luck turns, the subconscious mind does not understand later. It only knows now. So when you cradle yourself to sleep with later, you keep your good perpetually a few arm lengths ahead. Provision begins the moment you move the tense. I am already supplied. The moment you say it, and feel even 1 degree of relief, you change banks from the bank of fear to the bank of source. Fear of lack has many dialects. It speaks as math. The numbers don't work. As memory, last time I tried this I lost. As morality, who am I to want more? As manners, I shouldn't ask. As logic, the market is down. As comparison, they have connections I don't. It even shows up disguised as responsibility. I'll tighten harder, worry harder, work longer. And yet, as you have seen, tightening, worrying, and overworking rarely produce the peace you actually want. Provision is not frantic, it is fluent. It does not need your panic to do its work. So before sleep, we shift from scarcity chemistry to sufficiency chemistry. Scarcity chemistry is tight jaw, shallow breath, clenched belly, eyes scanning for threat. Sufficiency chemistry is loosened shoulders, slower exhale, a sense, however small, that you rest in something larger than your efforts. You can induce this shift in 2 minutes. Place your hands on your lower ribs. Inhale slowly, exhale even slower, as if you were fogging a mirror you love. Think, I am already supplied. Let your body answer first. 1 notch softer. The mind follows the body's lead like a faithful dog. Now give your subconscious a picture to build. The mind eats images, feed it what you want multiplied. Choose one scene that sings security to you. Not wealth theater, but true sufficiency. It might be the pantry of your grandmother's house. Shelves lined with jars that lasted through winter. It might be the steady hum of a well-tuned car starting every time. It might be a sun-warmed kitchen table with an envelope in the center and inside it a number that makes your shoulders drop. Keep it simple. See your own hands touching the jar, turning the key, opening the envelope. Hear the tiny sounds, the cupboard hinge, the engine's first purr, the crisp slide of paper. Feel the temperature of the room. Then say, I am already supplied, and let that picture meet the words until the two are one thing. Provision isn't only things, it is timing, guidance, and right people. Imagine yourself walking a path at dusk. Along the edges are low lights that come on just before you step. You never stand in darkness, the next patch glows when you need it. This is divine provision in its favorite costume, guidance. Say, I am divinely guided and abundantly supplied. Let those words switch on the next lamp. See how much fear drops when you realize you don't need the entire map, only the next light. If numbers scare you, try the orchard image. You are not a customer banging on a store door after closing time. You are a tree rooted by an underground river. You don't beg the sky, you draw from within. Your roots are your beliefs. The river is the infinite intelligence that grew the world without your help. Whisper before sleep. I drink from the inner river. I am already supplied. Feel that coolness rise through you. If you are very tired, let the picture do the prayer. Your subconscious speaks fluent symbol. A story for your faith. Daniel the accountant from before found his stride with the sentence, everything I do prospers. The richer story begins with his wife Leah. She confessed she had been quietly carrying her own fear, grocery lists mentally tallied with a wince, the smallest treats returned to shelves. She began her own night practice, simpler than Daniel's hand on her heart. We are provided for in every way that matters. Thank you. For her image, she chose the most ordinary thing, the family table set for dinner, steam rising from bowls, laughter, enough. Within 10 days, a neighbor leaving the city asked if Leah would like to take over a weekly cooking gig. She had no time for 4 families, good pay, flexible schedule. Leah loved to cook. What began as a little help grew into a catering stream that matched Daniel's raise and then some. When she told the story later, she said, I thought provision was money. It came as joy I could invoice. Another, a shop owner named Javier, had storms, literal ones. The roof of his small market leaked, and each rain meant buckets and apologies to customers. He went to bed counting repair costs, and woke at 3:11 a.m. rehearsing failure. His night seed became, I am guided to my supply and supply is guided to me. For his image, not a roof. He couldn't picture it fixed. But the front door bell chiming as someone entered with dry shoes and an easy smile. On the 4th morning, his cousin texted a roofing crew they knew had a canceled job and a gap. If Javier could say yes that week, they'd do it at cost. He did not sleep through a storm again that season. I felt like I had been trying to drag a river uphill. He said, I stopped dragging. The river came, and one more. Maya, an ICU nurse who wanted to return to school, but tuition was a wall. Her last thoughts at night were spreadsheets and be realistic. She changed them to all I need for my next right step is given me now. Her image, a thick manila envelope, slid under her door while she slept. She never opened it in the visualization. She only felt the weight land. She practiced this for 2 weeks. Then an email from a scholarship fund she hadn't qualified for last year, announcing a new category created for nurses who had served in crisis wards. A colleague forwarded it. Maya applied in a half hour and received full tuition. The envelope under the door, she said, laughing through tears. It just came through the wire. Do not make the mistake of explaining these stories away as exceptions. They are demonstrations of law. What you impress, you express. What you accept, you attract. What you assume, you allow. The subconscious is not a vending machine. It is a reproductive field. It grows after its kind. Plant lack. Reap more reasons to feel it. Plant already supplied. Reap the paths by which supply recognizes you. Before bed, try the cup ritual. Keep an empty cup at your bedside. Not fancy. Hold it with both hands. Whisper, this is my mind. Fill it with what I actually need. Then imagine a stream of clear water pouring into it from just above your head. Call it grace, call it intelligence, call it God. Watch until the water reaches the brim and forms that perfect trembling meniscus. Pause. Then whisper, enough. Sip. Feel the swallow. Slow and deliberate. Set the cup down. Turn off the light. Fall asleep on that taste. In the morning, notice how your body behaves differently when it has tasted enough, or the envelope ritual Leah loved. Address an envelope to yourself with the word provision on the front. Slip a blank page inside. Each night, press it to your heart and say, "Thank you for what's inside." Do not write anything yet. You are teaching your nervous system to feel gratitude before content. After a week, open the envelope and write one line that arrived in that week. A tip, a saving, a small kindness, an idea. The list will grow because attention is a magnet and gratitude is attention set to music. If fear of lack wakes you at night, there is a sentence to place like a cool cloth on a fevered forehead. I don't have to know how. I only have to accept that it is so. Then return to I am already supplied. The mind wants mechanics, supply prefers permission. Your job is to hold the door, not to carry the warehouse. Be careful with the images you feed yourself in the last hour. Scarcity loves headlines and doom scrolls. If you must read, read something that stretches your horizon, not something that shrinks it. If you must watch, watch proof of growth. Gardens, crafts, restorations, anything where something becomes more itself through care. You are imprinting your night. Choose your ink. A word on generosity. Because provision and giving are twins. When you feel most pinched, the reflex is to clutch. But the law is circulation. Even a small, sincere act keeps you in the river. An encouraging message, a tip given gladly, a coffee bought for a stranger, a bag of pantry items left at a community shelf. Do not perform generosity to earn supply. Give to agree with it. Each small gift is you telling your subconscious there is more. I'm safe to share that identity. One who has enough to bless magnetizes more than any spreadsheet can predict. And what about debts? Bills? The hard-edged facts that keep you awake. Don't pretend they don't exist. Place them in order under provision. Before sleep, gather those envelopes and statements. Stack them neatly. Place your palm on top. Say, divine order governs these. Divine provision meets these in perfect ways. I bless every hand that will receive my payment. I am already supplied. You are moving from adversarial to aligned. Debts are not enemies, they are agreements. When you bless the agreement, you make room for new agreements that fit the person you are becoming. If you want one simple, strong night phrase, use this: infinite supply, immediate guidance now. Feel what those 4 words do. Infinite, no ceiling. Supply what is needed. Immediate, no delay. Guidance, the how. Now the only time the subconscious knows, pair it with one picture. Your lights along the path turning on just before your foot falls. In the morning, practice evidence collecting. Not just money. Look for all the ways provision speaks. A seat opens on a full train. A friend texts exactly when you needed a lift. The part you thought would take 2 hours takes 20 minutes. The idea arrives in the shower. The sale email hits your inbox the day before you were going to buy the same thing at full price. The doctor you wanted has a cancellation. Say out loud, even if you feel a little silly. Provision. You are not praising luck. You are strengthening a neural groove. I live in a responsive universe. If cynicism pops up, coincidence, smile and say, I'm allowed to have good timing. If guilt whispers, others have less, say, my thriving is how I can help. Provision is not a pie you steal slices from. It is a bakery with ovens that never cool. One last story, because stories are bridges. A musician named Amir had a gift for writing songs no one heard. He gigged between shifts and made art in the cracks of the day, but the money never arrived with the melody. He went to bed with the thought, if I don't catch a break soon, I'll have to quit. He changed it to my work is worthy, and it is provided for in perfect ways. His image was humble. A studio door opening, the soundproof light turning from red to green, a hand waving him in. He slept on that for a month. Toward the end of the month, a friend's friend asked if Amir would help write a jingle for a small company's ad. Amir took the gig without drama. The ad went local viral, the company re-upped the contract, and a producer heard the jingle and asked Amir for a meeting. Nothing was dramatic, Amir said. It all felt like switches flipping in a row. That's provision. Click, click, click. So tonight, when the doorman of your conscious mind gets drowsy and the gate swings open, hand the night crew a clear, kind instruction. I am already supplied. I am divinely guided to what I need, and what I need is divinely guided to me. I rest in sufficiency now. Pair it with one image that feels like safety in your bones. And as you drift, Let the fear of lack dissolve like salt in warm water. If it tries to reform, do not fight. Whisper once more, enough. Then let your breath finish the prayer. Tomorrow, watch what happens not with clenched hope, but with quiet curiosity. See how the next lamp comes on when you near it. See how the river you stopped dragging begins to carry you. See how ordinary scenes, an email, a handshake, a bell on a shop door become sacraments of supply. And when they do, nod, say thank you. Not to flatter the universe, but to remind your own mind this is how we live now. Now, let's bring them together. Order and provision. 2 thoughts. Not 10, not 20. Just 2 pillars sturdy enough to hold the whole structure of your life. Why 2? Because truth loves simplicity. The mind, when half asleep, cannot juggle a dozen affirmations. It needs a rhythm it can hum, a pattern it can remember even in dreams. These 2 thoughts, divine order and divine provision, are like the inhale and the exhale of a prosperous soul. Order aligns your world, provision fills it together, they form the breath of peace. Think of order as the architecture, the sacred blueprint drawn before anything takes form. It is the silent grid that keeps the stars from colliding and the seasons from forgetting their turn. Divine order is the skeleton of harmony, the invisible scaffolding upon which abundance stands. Then think of provision as the furnishings, the warmth, the texture, the fullness that makes the structure livable. Provision brings color to the canvas, bread to the table, oil to the lamp. Without order, provision spills and scatters. Without provision, order stands empty and echoing. Together they complete the picture, structure and substance, bones and breath, plan and plenty. This is why you only need these 2 before sleep. You're not trying to overwhelm your subconscious, you're trying to guide it. Imagine your mind at bedtime like a faithful servant awaiting instruction. If you bark orders in 10 different directions, it spins in circles, unsure which command to obey. But give it 2 clear sentences, steady and rhythmic, and it moves like a river in its bed. Order says, this is the path. Provision says, here is what flows through it. So how do you plant them? You plant them like twin seeds, one for direction, one for supply, in the fertile soil of your drowsy state. The few minutes before sleep are not trivial, they are holy. That twilight threshold, when your thinking mind loosens its grip, is when the soil is most tender. Every sentence you whisper there is received without resistance. No skeptic stands at the gate. The watchman is off duty. The gardener is awake. Lie down as you usually do, but add intention. Take 1 deep breath, slow and grateful. Feel your weight sink into the mattress as if the earth itself were holding you. Now quietly, in a voice that barely stirs the air, say, Salon, divine order governs my life. Everything falls perfectly into place. Salon Lizzy, divine provision supplies my every need. I am already cared for. You can whisper 1 on the inhale, the other on the exhale. Order in, provision out. Breathe it like a prayer. Don't rush, don't chant. Whisper. Whispering is the language of the subconscious. It carries intimacy, authority, and ease. When you whisper, you bypass the noise of performance. You speak as a friend, giving gentle instruction to a loyal ally. The subconscious leans in when you whisper. It recognizes softness as confidence. If you want to deepen the imprint, use the night loop method. Picture your thoughts as a looping melody that plays beneath sleep. Start the loop gently. Divine order leads me. Divine provision feeds me. Everything flows. I am guided, supplied, and at peace. Repeat this 4-line lullaby until your mind begins to blur its edges. Don't count repetitions. Just let it become the background hum, like a river under ice. If you wake in the night, return to the loop instead of the worry. Let the words rock you back into the current. You might find that, with practice, these 2 thoughts begin to echo automatically. You'll notice them rising unbidden when you face uncertainty. Divine order whispering when plans shift, divine provision stirring when bills arrive. This is not coincidence, this is conditioning. You've trained your inner voice to speak the language of truth. Every time you loop these thoughts, you carve a deeper groove in the record of your mind. Soon it plays on its own. If you like visuals, imagine your consciousness as a vast house. Divine order is the light turning on in each room, revealing what belongs where. Divine provision is the furniture being placed, the table set, the fire lit. You are both architect and inhabitant. Before sleep, you walk through each room in your mind, whispering as you go, "This belongs here. This is provided. All is well." By morning, the house is rearranged, not because you worked, but because you blessed. Another way, pair each thought with a gesture. When you say divine order, place your hand over your forehead, the seat of planning and logic, and feel it soften. When you say divine provision, move your hand to your heart, the seat of gratitude, and let it open. This small choreography anchors the affirmations in muscle memory. Soon, even a touch to the forehead will recall order. A hand to the heart will recall supply. You're building anchors, spiritual shortcuts, so truth is never far. If your mind protests, it can't be that simple. Smile. Complexity is the weapon of doubt. Truth is always simple, and simplicity is always strong. The seed that cracks concrete is small. The spark that lights a city fits on your fingertip. 2 thoughts, spoken nightly. That's the design. Now let's weave them into a complete night ritual, a loop you can practice without strain. Settle, lie down. 1 deep breath. Feel the day exhale from your body. Whisper order. Divine order governs my life. Everything falls perfectly into place. Visualize gears clicking into rhythm, stars aligning, the puzzle fitting together. Whisper provision. Divine provision supplies my every need. I am already cared for. Feel warmth spread across your chest. Like sunlight through water, unite them. Breathe in order. Breathe out provision. Let the breath become the bridge. Loop softly. Order and provision. Structure and supply. I am safe. I am led. I am full. Drift. Let the loop fade into the background. Trust that the gardener has taken the seeds. This is not a ritual of effort, but of entrustment. You are not planting wishes. You are planting instructions. Law obeys language. The subconscious builds what you bless. Whisper clearly. Whisper kindly. Whisper like someone who already has what they're describing. In the days ahead, you'll begin to notice synchronicities. Not loud, but precise. The phone call you needed. The idea that solves the problem. The door that opens sideways when the front one shuts. Don't dismiss these as accidents. Nod, smile, and say quietly, order and provision. Each acknowledgement strengthens the loop. Remember, you are not trying to force outcomes. You are tuning yourself to the frequency of sufficiency. Divine order sets the rhythm. Divine provision provides the melody. Together they create the symphony of a life aligned with grace. Every night you whisper them. You hand the baton to the conductor. Your only task is to keep time with trust. So tonight, as you pull the covers up and let the hum of the day fade, whisper, divine order guides my path. Divine provision fills my world. I rest in harmony. I rise in abundance. Let it echo once, twice, until the line between waking and dreaming blurs, then let go. The words will keep working while you sleep. Practice begins long before your head touches the pillow. Think of it as tending the soil before you place the seed. An hour before sleep if you can. 30 minutes at minimum. Begin to step down the noise of the day. Lower the lights. Let the screens go dark. The nervous system reads light and speed as a signal to stay alert. You are telling it gently that the workshop is closing and the sanctuary is opening. Do small, ordinary things that communicate safety to your body. Straighten a corner of the room. Lay out tomorrow's clothing. Wash your face slowly. Sip warm water. These are not chores, they are cues. The subconscious listens to cues far more obediently than it listens to lectures. As you move through this, wind down, close the bookkeeping of the day. If there was friction, bless it and release it. If a task remains undone, write it on a card and put the card away. You are not abandoning it, you are containing it. If a conversation tugs at you, speak a quiet benediction over it. I release you to divine order. I release myself to peace. This is how you stop stray thoughts from roaming the corridors after lights out. You are not suppressing anything. You are preparing a place for something better. When the room is quiet and the air is still, shift from doing to feeling. Emotional alignment is the bridge that carries your 2 thoughts into the deep. You don't have to manufacture big feelings, you only have to kindle a real one. Place a hand on your chest and breathe in a slow rhythm. 6 counts in, 6 counts out. As the breath evens, call up a memory of order. Any small moment when things fell into place. The time you arrived exactly on time without rushing. The way a lost item turned up in the first drawer you tried. The surprise of a meeting that became a doorway. Let your body remember what order feels like. It feels like exhale, like shoulders dropping, like the sense that something wiser than you is already orchestrating the next step. Now let your mind wander to a memory of provision, again something simple and true, a meal that appeared when you were hungry, a bill paid just in time, a kind word you didn't expect, the way a stranger held a door. Provision has a texture, warmth in the belly, softness around the eyes, a loosened jaw. Let that texture spread until it is the climate of your inner room. These are not fantasies, they are anchors. The subconscious accepts new instructions most readily when they arrive on the same current as something it already knows. With feeling established, create the picture. Keep it short and loopable, no more than 10 seconds, so it can repeat without effort as you drift. For order, see a calendar whose squares slide neatly into alignment, appointments rearranging themselves with ease, the day laying itself out like a clean path. Or see the hands of a clock clicking into sync, a simple image of rhythm restored. For provision, choose a scene that breathes security. You open a statement and see a number that brings relief. You place groceries on the counter and feel the quiet abundance of a full kitchen. You lie back in bed after transferring money to savings and sense the floor under your life growing firm. Make it sensory. Hear the rustle of paper, the clink of glass, the soft thud of a loaf on the counter. Smell the soap after your evening shower. Feel the coolness of sheets. When the senses are engaged, the imagined scene is registered by the subconscious as lived. Now bring in the words. You are ready for the two thoughts themselves. The seed and the rain. Whisper them as if confiding a secret to someone who already loves you. Divine order governs my life. Everything falls perfectly into place. Divine provision supplies my every need. I am already cared for. Let the first settle into the mind like a plumb line finding center. Let the second settle into the heart like warmth moving outward from a small fire. Breathe in order, breathe out provision. The breath becomes the metronome that holds them both. Allow the picture to run behind the words. See the calendar settle into harmony while you whisper order. See the full table or the cleared balance while you whisper provision. If your mind wanders, do not scold it. Invite it back the way you would guide a child by the hand, back to the breath, back to the two lines, back to the simple scene that carries the feeling of already done. If you prefer a tactile anchor, pair each thought with a gesture. When you say divine order, lightly touch your forehead and let the muscles around the eyes soften, signaling to your thinking mind that it can set its burden down. When you say divine provision, rest your hand over your heart and let your ribcage widen, signaling to your emotional body that it may receive. After a week, the gestures themselves will evoke the states, and you'll be able to call them up with a touch in the middle of a crowded day. If a stray worry knocks loudly just as you begin to drowse, use the repair phrase without drama. That is not my truth. I release it now. My truth is divine order and divine provision. Then breathe once more with your two lines and slip back into the picture. Do not wrestle with unwanted thoughts. Replace them. Wrestling feeds them. Replacing starves them. Morning begins while the night work is still finishing. What you do in the first minute after waking either waters the seed or steps on the sprout. Before you reach for a device or rehearse the day's demands, remain where you are. Keep your body still for a breath or two. And remember your two thoughts. Repeat them once in the same whisper you used at night. Let the associated picture flicker for a moment. You are telling the subconscious continue. The instruction from last night still stands. A glass of water taken slowly can become part of this integration. The nervous system reads slow water as safety. While you drink, quietly affirm that what was planted is growing, unseen but certain. Choose one small action before noon that matches the two thoughts. If order is governing, put one visible thing in its proper place, a clean sink, an organized desktop, a simple schedule with one clear priority circled. If provision is supplying, practice one small gesture of generosity, even if it is a note of thanks or sharing half of something you love. Aligned action is not payment for manifestation, it is an echo of it. It tells your whole system we live in the world, our thoughts described. Through the day, use thresholds as reminders. Each time you pass through a doorway, let it cue a breath with the two lines. Walking into the office, divine order governs my day. Sitting down to eat, divine provision supplies my every need. Laying your head down at night, I am guided, and I am supplied. These micro loops keep the channel clear and prevent the noise of the day from erasing the line you drew before sleep. Now set yourself a 7-night challenge and treat it as a vow. For 7 consecutive nights, you will prepare the soil, summon the feeling, run the scene, and whisper the 2 thoughts as you drift into sleep. Do not add to them or edit them midstream. Some people are tempted to garnish their lines with extras on the 3rd night. Resist. The power here is focus and repetition. You are engraving, not decorating. On the 1st night, give special attention to the room itself. Clear a surface, darken the corners, let the bed feel like a declaration that you expect rest. On the 2nd night, give special attention to the breath. Find the rhythm that quiets you, and let it carry the words without strain. On the 3rd night, enrich the feeling with a remembered success story from your own life, however small, so your body says yes without argument. On the 4th night, refine the picture so it loops without effort. On the 5th, add the gestures if you haven't already. On the 6th, notice any resistance that still whispers and meet it with a repair phrase and a smile. On the 7th, seal the practice with simple gratitude before sleep and simple gratitude upon waking. Keep a brief record. 2 or 3 lines each morning are enough. Note any shifts in mood, any unexpected ease, any small provision, any moment when the day seemed to fall into place. The log is not for judgment, it is for evidence. The conscious mind relaxes when it can see in ink what the heart already knows. If nothing seems to move on a given day, record your faith anyway. Faith becomes easier when you can see that you have kept it. If you miss a night, do not declare failure. Declare return. The next evening, begin again without apology. The subconscious does not punish. It responds. Consistency is cumulative. 2 nights practice with sincerity outweigh 5 nights of scattered effort. You are training a loyal horse to come when you call. Call it with the same whistle and it will learn. If you wish to strengthen the field further, invite a trusted partner to practice the same 2 thoughts for the same 7 nights. You need not debrief at length. A simple message before bed, order and provision, and a simple acknowledgement in the morning, I kept the vow, is enough. Agreement multiplies intention. But even alone, you are never truly alone. Agreement with your own deeper self is sufficient to move mountains a pebble at a time. Do not demand that provision show up through a particular channel, or that order rearrange circumstances according to your timeline. That is the conscious mind trying to take back the baton. Your task is to name the quality and feel it. The method belongs to a wisdom larger than you. Often the earliest proof is internal, a steadier pulse, a calmer gaze, a gentler way of interpreting what once felt threatening. These inner proofs are the first harvest. Outer proofs tend to follow them the way ripened fruit follows the first warm days of the season. After the 7 nights, you will feel a change in the air of your inner house. Keep going. Make 7 nights the beginning of 70, not the end of 7. Most people give up at the threshold. They have turned the key and started to push, but the door still leans against them, and they step back. Stay with your hand on the key. The door yields to the one who keeps applying quiet pressure. If you want to deepen the practice further, pair your evening ritual with a short afternoon reset. 2 minutes is enough. Close your eyes, take 3 slow breaths, whisper your 2 lines once, see the scene for 5 seconds and return to your work. This is not another task, it is a sip of water for the seedling. It keeps the soil moist in the heat of the day. In time you will notice that your language changes. You will catch yourself saying, "It will work out," and then feel the upgrade to, "It is working out." You will reach for your wallet and feel safe rather than braced. You will meet a change in plans and feel curiosity rather than alarm. These are not accidents. They are the fruits of a mind that has been sleeping on truth. Return to the simplest form whenever you get lost. Darkness. Breath. 2 lines. Short scene. Drift. Divine order governs my life. Everything falls perfectly into place. Divine provision supplies my every need. I am already cared for. The whisper will carry the words beyond the guard and into the workshop. The builders will find them on their bench in the morning, and you will rise into a day already shaped by the work you began in the quiet. A story of health. The body that remembered wholeness. There was a woman named Claire. She had been moving through months of fatigue and unexplainable aches, the kind that doctors call stress-related when tests come back clean. Her days felt scattered, her routine slipped, her sleep was restless, her body felt foreign. She had begun to believe without meaning to that her body was fragile, broken, unreliable. Then one evening, while listening to a quiet talk about the subconscious mind, a single line struck her. Your body is the garden of your thoughts. She wrote down two phrases. Divine order governs my body. Divine provision restores my strength. That night, instead of replaying the day's exhaustion, she lay still and breathed those words. Her mind pictured her body not as a battlefield but as an orchestra, each organ a section tuning to the same pitch, each cell falling into rhythm. She whispered, Divine order governs my body. Everything falls perfectly into place. The first few nights felt mechanical. Her mind wandered, her joints ached, but she kept returning, planting the same seed, night after night. By the fourth night, something shifted, her breath deepened, her shoulders softened, her heartbeat slowed. It was as if her body, hearing its true conductor, began to tune itself. Weeks passed. One morning she noticed she had woken before her alarm, rested, alert, light in her limbs. A subtle pulse of gratitude replaced her old dread. She began to walk more, eat with pleasure, stretch without counting repetitions. The aches that once ruled her schedule slipped quietly away. Nothing miraculous, nothing forced, just the slow rearranging of an inner order. And though she never thought of herself as healed, the day came when a friend asked, You seem different. Are you doing something new? She smiled and said, Yes, I'm finally listening. Her story reminds us that the body is not an adversary, it is an obedient partner. When we whisper order and provision into its ear before sleep, it organizes, replenishes, and restores according to the blueprint we've handed it. Divine order aligns the systems. Divine provision fuels them with life. The subconscious, faithful night worker follows those commands with precision, not because we beg it, but because it was built to obey truth. A story of success. The architect who remembered his design. There was a man named Leo, an architect by trade and a worrier by habit. His desk was a landscape of unfinished sketches, each promising more than he dared pursue. Opportunities came and slipped through his fingers. He called it bad timing, but secretly he feared he was simply unlucky. The days felt chaotic. Phone calls missed, deadlines tangled, finances stretched thin. One night, after stumbling across a passage from Joseph Murphy, he paused at this phrase, the subconscious builds from the blueprint it is given. Something in him stirred. He realized he'd been handing his inner builder scraps. Worry about clients, guilt about wasted time, fear of not enough. No wonder his projects collapsed before completion. That evening, he wrote on a slip of paper 2 lines. Divine order arranges every detail of my work. Divine provision supplies every resource and opportunity I need. He placed the paper under his pillow. Each night he whispered them slowly, picturing his desk as a clean drafting table, plans rolled neatly, phone ringing with good news, his calendar unfolding like a measured grid where everything had its place. With each whisper his chest loosened, his breath smoothed. He didn't force sleep, he let the words carry him. Within a week a long-delayed payment cleared. A small project he'd forgotten about reopened. His mornings felt lighter, his hours stretched further. Within a month a partner reached out, a collaboration that matched his old dream, one he'd buried under excuses. Leo found himself working not frantically but fluidly. When asked how he turned things around, he smiled. I stopped trying to control everything. I started trusting the plan already written. That's what divine order does. It clears the cluttered drafting table of the mind so the true design can emerge. And divine provision brings in every tool, every client, every helping hand to raise that design into form. Success, he discovered, isn't luck or struggle. It's the inevitable structure that rises when thought and faith build in harmony. A story of relationships. The house that learned harmony. Maya and James loved each other deeply, yet their home often sounded like a storm. Misunderstandings echoed. Silence settled heavy. Old arguments circled back like restless birds. Each night they went to bed facing opposite walls, their last thoughts sharp with regret. Why can't we understand each other? Why does it always unravel? It was Maya who first heard the teaching, that the last thought before sleep is the seed of tomorrow. She wrote 2 new ones. Divine order governs our love. Divine provision supplies our understanding. The first night she whispered them silently, not to James but to the quiet within her. She pictured their home bathed in warm light, their words moving like music rather than weapons, laughter floating through the rooms. The next morning she woke with a gentle resolve. When James spoke, she listened a second longer. When he sighed, she reached out rather than recoiling. He noticed, slowly, her calm drew out his softness. One evening, he asked what had changed. She shared her two thoughts, curious. He joined her. Each night they lay together whispering, "Divine order governs our love. Divine provision supplies our understanding." Soon their quarrels lost volume. Their mornings filled with quiet touches. Their evenings with shared gratitude. Arguments didn't vanish, but they flowed differently, like brief rain on fertile soil rather than floods that tore roots apart. The seed had taken. Love, like any living thing, grows toward the light it is given. Divine order shapes its rhythm. Divine provision feeds it with kindness, patience, and the small miracles of mutual grace. The same law that restores health and opens doors can tune the strings between two hearts until they play in unison again. Doubt is the quiet intruder of the night. It doesn't crash through the door, it slips through the cracks. A whisper that asks, "What if this doesn't work, or what if I'm just pretending?" Everyone who plants seeds of truth will at some point hear that voice. Joseph Murphy never denied its presence. He simply taught us what to do when it comes, not to fight it, not to wrestle with it, but to see it for what it is. A weed that has sprouted where the soil is rich. You cannot curse a weed into disappearing. You remove it calmly by hand with awareness and patience. Resistance is not a sign of failure. It's proof that something alive is growing. The subconscious is stirring, rearranging old patterns, and in that stirring, old roots break the surface. When you see them, don't panic. Smile a little, it means your inner garden is active. Then, without emotion, prune, whisper gently, "That's not my truth anymore," and plant again. Doubt loses its grip when you stop feeding it. Every time you repeat your two thoughts, "Divine order governs my life. Divine provision supplies all my needs," you water your chosen seeds. Every time you catch yourself rehearsing fear, and instead turn back to faith, you are pruning. The aim is not perfection, but persistence. The soil will grow whatever is sown most often, and the most often sown will soon be the only thing that grows. Murphy knew that sometimes the distance between our current condition and our desired truth feels too wide. The conscious mind balks at a statement it cannot yet see proof of. If you affirm, "I am abundantly provided for," and your bank account stands empty, the mind may protest, "No, you're not." That inner objection is not rebellion, it's habit, and habit can be retrained through bridge affirmations. A bridge affirmation spans the gap between where you stand and where you're going. It speaks to direction rather than completion, progress rather than perfection. Instead of "I am abundantly provided for," you might whisper, "Every day provision flows to me in greater ways." Instead of "Divine order governs my entire life," say, "Each day more of my life falls gently into divine order." The subconscious accepts movement easily. It loves rhythm and unfolding. Picture a gardener planting young trees. He doesn't expect full shade the next morning. He tends the saplings, waters them, trusts the slow work. Bridge affirmations are that care, steady, believable, nurturing. Over time, as you see proof, small coincidences, lightness in your mood, doors opening, you'll feel the distance shorten. Then, naturally, you'll step into stronger declarations. "I live in divine order now. I am lavishly provided for." The bridge dissolves when you've crossed it. It's important to remember that doubt is a thought, nothing more. It has no roots unless you feed it with fear. Let it pass like a cloud across the night sky. Return to your words. Return to your breath. Return to your seed. Faith is not loud, it's consistent, and consistency, night after night, will teach your subconscious which voice to obey. When you find yourself troubled, perhaps bills press, plans falter, or silence lingers too long, pause before bed and acknowledge the feeling. Don't bury it. Bless it. Say quietly, "Even in this, divine order is at work. Even now, divine provision flows unseen." This soft acknowledgement loosens the knot of resistance. You are not lying to yourself. You are choosing a higher view, one your subconscious can work from while you rest. If worry wakes you at 2 a.m., don't let it spiral. Whisper, "Peace, be still. Divine order restores me. Divine provision sustains me." Then breathe. The repetition is the pruning. The calm is the watering. You'll find the soil quiet again soon. Every weed you remove makes room for stronger roots. Every bridge you build brings you closer to firm ground. In time, doubt will lose its shape, and in its place will stand quiet trust, the kind that no longer asks, "What if?" because it knows even now. It is done. And now, as the night gathers around you and the world begins to quiet, remember this truth: you are the gardener of your own life. Every evening, before your eyes close, you stand at the edge of the most fertile field you will ever know, your subconscious mind. What you plant here, in these still and sacred moments, becomes the landscape of your tomorrow. So tonight, choose your two thoughts with reverence. Whisper them softly: divine order governs my life. Divine provision supplies all my needs. Let them settle into the soil of your mind, alive with faith, warm with gratitude. Feel them take root, reaching deep into the unseen layers of creation where infinite intelligence moves on your behalf. And as you drift into sleep, know this: the work has already begun. While your body rests, the master builder within you is arranging circumstances, guiding steps, drawing into your orbit every piece that aligns with your words. You are not waiting, you are becoming. You are not hoping, you are knowing. If you felt the truth of this teaching, if something in you stirred tonight, honor that. Write in the comments: divine order and divine provision are working in my life. Declare it to the universe so that heaven and earth may hear it. Let your words seal the seed. And before you go, remember to like this video, subscribe, and share it with someone who needs a gentle reminder that they too are creators, that the life they long for begins with two simple thoughts before sleep. You've done something rare tonight. You've taken the time to plant deliberately, to speak with intention, that makes you part of the small circle who no longer drift into the night on random thoughts, but who write with quiet authority the story of their tomorrow. Now close your eyes, breathe deeply, and let the silence carry your words. Divine order governs your life. Divine provision supplies all your needs. Rest knowing that what you have spoken is already in motion.